Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught. Touchdown, Alabama. Isaiah Bond.
Take 5, it's time to reboot. Duck. Goose, I don't need to choose.
Lillard, long range three. With 5 seconds to go. They gotta pay attention to the clock. Gillen. Unbelievable. No time left. Eagles win.
That one's drilled to left field. Isn't high enough. A walk-off grand slam. And the Yankees win. Judge hit 60. And the Yankees win in walk-off fashion.
3 seconds left. Cleveland triggers in. James, 2 seconds. 1 second to the win. LeBron James delivers. That's a winner in Cleveland.
Hallelujah. Take 5, it's time to reboot. Duck. Who's winning? So I don't need to choose to the room.
And it's blocked.
I can never lose.
And it's picked up by Will Hill. Will Hill runs down the sideline. Hill's gonna get a block. Will Hill is gonna win the game on a blocked field goal. Got a mismatch. Walker on the knee with 4. Kemba Walker. Step back. Walker. Kemba does it again. UConn wins at the buzzer.
My mom taught me to move your feet wise. Now tap dance kicking ass like this FIFA.
Welcome in to the Fifth Take Podcast. You're joining me, Lord Saquad. You got my man Clifford Tarno, Chris Brown, no relation, and Hoophead Stino. I'm not sure where we should start tonight. I know where I want to start. About 35 seconds in that intro video, you see Tom Coughlin bitching out Matt Dodge because they kicked it to Deshaun Jackson. Miracle at the Meadowlands too. But I think we need to start there tonight. I don't know what you want to dub it or what you want to call it, Clifford, but the Cowboys coming back on the Eagles in the second half. Run us through it. Let's hear your emotions for that game.
Take the floor.
I mean,
talk
your shit, Cliff. Y'all already know. I am definitely not an emotional guy when it comes to football. I'm not that stereotypical Cowboys fan that loses my shit and breaks TVs or anything like that. Although I do need a new TV. No, I'm just bullshitting.
Like, oh man, I missed the whole second half.
Like they won? What do you mean they won? Look, so it looks like, some of our defensive pieces that we picked up started working, right? Looks like we actually can kind of maybe even count on our defense to show up and play a game. The first half was a shit ton of mistakes and a couple of bad ref calls. I mean, the whole 15-yard penalty that got them the first down that scored that touchdown drive was not a penalty. He hit his hand touched the ball. That's sorry. Yeah. But again, defense held them fucking scoreless for 2.5 quarters. Like legitimately, I want to say it was 21-0 in the second quarter with like 11 minutes to go. And they finally showed up. Dak and CD just look. Lamb, I didn't agree with paying him the money they paid him simply because dude's not 100% receiving the. It hits his fucking hands a lot and he misses it. Just in that game, he went 4 for 11 if I'm not mistaken. Fucking, and I told everybody, George Pickens is that motherfucking guy. George Pickens is going to have 1,200 yards as a wide receiver too with the Dallas Cowboys. No problem. Because that motherfucker catches everything. So, great game. Fantastic job. Way to hold them defense. Way to finally show up. Brandon Aubrey missing the second kick of the season was kind of weird to me. But hey, so be it. The Cowboys came back from a 21-0 deficit and put belt ass in that second quarter.
Yeah. What about you, Stino?
I mean, second half. Sorry, I said second quarter. I'm a dummy.
I mean, I I think I gotta agree with Cliff, man. Dallas defense to start the season before they started making the moves and stuff, man. It wasn't looking good, bottom of the barrel and everything like that. Now you get Kenny Clark, you get the linebacker
Williams.
from the Bengals. Yeah, man, they just got the right pieces now, man. It seems like they're all starting to mesh well together. There's no extra chirping in the locker room, no background interference. They can just go out there and play football. And I think that's kind of what that defense had been missing. They just been missing that they could just go out there and play football without any outside distractions. Now that they're doing that, you see them slowly creeping up the defensive rankings. I think like 3-4 weeks ago they was 31 or 32. Just 2 weeks ago they crept up to. Don't get me wrong, small increase, but a small increase is better than no increase at all. Went up to 25, 24, something like that. I think now after this week they're closer to the top 22, 21, if not top 20 type defense. You know what I'm saying? So it's steady improvement from that defense. The offense doesn't really concern me with Dallas. The offense is going to get off. They're going to get their points. It's been the defense that's been the thing with me. I'm not concerned with Brandon Aubrey neither, man. Kickers is going to have them days where they miss a couple kicks, man. He's still the best kicker in the league right now. So shout out to Dallas, though, for getting that big division win, man, hurting the hearts of some of them Eagles fans out there that we all love to hate and shit, man. So shout out to them Cowgirl fans, man.
Hey, let's not forget that, division win being the key factor here, that Dallas is 3-1 in the division. Eagles are 2-2. So even if the Eagles have a better record at the end of the year, Dallas has the division right now. So they'll be, if it was to end today, Dallas would be the NFC East champions.
I don't think that's how that works necessarily, but
it is.
It's usually the tiebreaker. It's the tiebreaker
yeah.
if they have the same record.
So Eagles,
what I'm going to say is,
if the Eagles have the better overall record, they still win the division, even if Dallas has the better division.
Yeah.
No, so when did this happen again? I'll go research it, but I want to say it happened with the Washington Redskins like 15 years ago or something like that. They didn't have the better overall record. They had the better division record, and division titles are given out for division records.
I'll say this: Dallas' defense with Quentin Williams has become something less worrisome because of the simple fact that they have two guys that can push the pocket. And you've seen it with Quentin Williams, even double teamed. He was pushing the guard, center, even center guard, splitting double teams and getting into the backfield where Jalen Hurts had to move off the spot. Their defense, outside of the 15-yard penalty, their defense did give up like two scores, but that offense, they weren't running on all cylinders just yet. And once they started to get the ball to just brain farted. They started to get the ball Pickens, getting the ball to Pickens. I don't know why I brain farted there. He's like number 2 in receiving yards. They started getting the ball to Pickens. That offense started to roll a little bit better. And in that second half, they made a lot more adjustments, and they just came out there and balled the fuck out. The 2 fumbles in the end, they kind of sealed the deal. I do have a problem with Schottenheimer not just kicking a field goal in the 4th. You've been stopping them for 2 quarters straight. Get them 3 points in the pass. Let your D lineman just let loose. But outside of that, it was a great team win. They came from behind 21 down and scored 24 straight points. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Eagles fans that are upset right about now, but it is what it is. I'm happy because the Eagles lost, but I haven't heard anything about it. But yeah, Dallas played a team game that night, and it was complimentary on several levels. Special teams, they got the fumble that led, I believe, to the field goal, the game-ending field goal. And then defense, they caused a turnover too that stopped Philly from scoring. So the team came together in the second half and they pulled out the victory. And tale of two halves. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That wasn't the only game that was tale of two halves neither. So
yeah, the one thing I will say about Dallas, and all of us, I feel like have similar thoughts on the Eagles. They've kind of lost their identity this year. They're not getting the ball to Saquon, whether they're not able to or they've changed their offense. However you want to build that bridge. But when you hold Saquon, who should be a top 5 running back in the league as far as yardage goes, to 22 yards or something like that, you're doing something right against the Eagles. I can deal with the 280, 290 passing yards for Jalen Hurts on the Cowboys because he was also their leading rusher at 33. So there are still some holes to fill in that Dallas Cowboys defense, but I think going forward, it's like a light at the end of the tunnel thing. It's like you fixed your main problems, which was you are the worst defense across the board. Passing, rushing, you're at the bottom of the league. Not anymore. As Dino said, the past couple of weeks they've gradually climbed their way up, and it's almost like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're going towards that. Don't let them throw some wins together. They basically, I was talking with, if you guys remember Ryan, big dude, young cat from Texas, big Cowboys fan.
Yeah, F.A. Ryan.
Yeah, I was talking to him earlier today. And for them to make the playoffs, they would essentially have to win out. That's kind of what it's looking like. They're 3 games back on the Eagles right now. We're coming down the home stretch. Don't let them get hot. They get hot and start winning games, and they win out and they make the playoffs. Now, I get it's the Cowboys, but they'll be playing their best football coming into the playoffs, and I wouldn't want to have to play them going into the playoffs if that's what was to happen. Oh man! But again, Stino hit the nail on the head. It's been a crazy, crazy week of football. Well, let's keep it in the same division. I was really excited to talk about this one, and then the second half went a little awry, and it's not an exciting game for me anymore. But the Lions-Giants. Anybody have any thoughts on that game?
You know that game out. Didn't fucking look good, and they, for some reason, their defense allowed the Giants to look spectacular.
Jameis Winston, I swear, Jameis Winston just Jameis Winston things every single game.
That fucking flea he hit was fucking gorgeous.
The fact that the DB got stiff armed and then dragged for like 2-3 yards until he lost the tackle. I swear, like this year, Jameis Winston is my favorite player to watch celebrate after scoring a touchdown. Last week he did the Harlem Shake. This week he was dice rolling. Like dude, he's just enjoyable to watch. But the thing about it is that honestly, that Giants offense rolling better than some would say Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson. I say Russell Wilson, but it just Jameis Winston got that offense rolling. So
look, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Jameis Winston, you're like, oh well, yeah. I mean, like he threw for like fucking 400 yards almost. I mean, yeah, he did.
He was also their fifth leading receiver.
This guy 33-yard receiving touchdown, man. Shout out to James. And he looked good on the receiving touchdown, too, man. Was that better?
He went up and got it. He didn't just let it come down. He went up and got it.
Back shoulder. That was like a 30-yard play or some shit.
33.
It was a back shoulder throw. Hey, we got to give Hunter Olszewski credit for he stepped up in the pocket and threw a laser over there. So we got to. But at least for another question, since we're talking about the Giants, should the Giants keep going with Kafka as their head coach?
Yes.
Or should they find another person? Because he's gotten that offense rolling.
I think you give it to the end of the season. Give it to the end of the season to see how he does.
Yeah.
Right? If this dude can 15 and, with a backup quarterback, Jameis Winston, who like you said, Jameis Winston does Jameis Winston things, right? So you could have 400-yard Jameis Winston, 50%, literally on the fucking nose, 50% completion, right? With still throwing 366, 370 yards 1 week with 50% of, Jameis Winston, 150 yards and 6 interceptions the next week.
I think ultimately it comes down to, as far as the coaching thing goes, this to me, although it's not a win on the record books or on the record, is a win for a coach coming in. When you're the Giants and you stay competitive against a team like the Lions, who maybe have not necessarily been impressive, but I think a lot of people would say they're one of the better teams in the NFC when they can get it rolling. And you stay competitive. If they can at least stay competitive, they could lose out, in my opinion, and stay competitive in every single game. Kafka's the kind of guy that you bring back. You also got to imagine you're getting Malik Neighbors back next year at some point. You're going to be getting, well, maybe not next year, but you're getting Cam Scatterbo back. Whether it's next year, I don't know if it's going to be for the whole year.
No, he'll be.
It's next year.
Next year.
He's already flexing the ankle. He's gonna be back soon. Like he's gonna be back next season.
He's been on a couple other podcasts and a couple of streams.
They made the playoffs
an issue though.
and went to round 2. Possibility Cam Scatterbo, right? I'm not, but no. At this point, no. It's definitely a return next year. He'll be fine.
What were you saying, Stino?
I was just gonna say, I don't know, man. The way he acts, man, I don't think he's got the mindset for it right now, to be honest with you, bro. I think he's still more focused on trying to be an entertainer and a fun guy than being a serious workaholic type shit. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I know he's got a work ethic. I'm not trying to talk shit on his work ethic or anything like that. I just feel like the way he goes on about his life at the moment, it could cause him to have a setback with his recovery. You know what I'm saying? Because we've already seen clips of him at WWE front row getting into the action. You know what I'm saying? If you got an injury like that, and that wasn't even 3 months ago, I mean, who's to tell what you might do in another 2 months just on some board shit because you have nothing else to do because you're already out of the playoffs, team not playing no more, or shit like that. So
I understand what you're saying.
But I'll say this: with Kafka, they have that offense running for 2 weeks right now. Because remember, they had a good game against the Packers too. That came down to the wire. Yep. So I think because Kafka's an offensive guy and it's showing that offense can be productive, he should be the head coach. And you just keep a defensive guy in there that knows how to just, use those rushers to the best of their ability. Now with Cam Scatterbo, I see what you're saying, Stino. I get all that, but I think when it's time to get on the field, I think the young bull gonna get in there and that's gonna be his number one goal because
for sure.
That whole team changed when he dislocated his ankle.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I think they've kind of set themselves up really good this next year, regardless of whether they have a pick, is they can kind of focus on that secondary because ultimately that's kind of what's dragging them down. They've got the pass rushers. Abdul Carter hasn't necessarily played up to the standard that we thought he was going to be playing at. I mean, Brian Burns is second in the league, and if it wasn't for somebody named Myles Garrett, he'd be first in the league. So that's a whole nother story if you want to go with that. And then obviously Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence are holding their own as well. So I think we
already know he's not touching Myles Garrett. We already know Myles Garrett's going to break the record this year.
Myles Garrett, I would go out. We said it last week. I would go out on a limb this week and say it again that he will probably end the season with 30. He will be damn close to 30.
It's possible. Yeah. It's really, sure. It's clear. It's very possible. Yeah. Oh my God. Let me know when we talk about that game, dog.
I was having a little bit of a debate. I was having a little bit of a debate over a comment section on a video. I can't remember who had posted the video, man, but it was basically comparing Myles Garrett's year this year to J.J. Watt's 2014 year. Do you think this Myles Garrett year that he's having is is on track with that 2014 J.J. Watt year where he was second
It,
in the MVP?
it's way past that. He's on
You
record
think
to
so?
have if he gets a sack every game, I think he has over 25 sacks.
No. I feel the sack part. The sack part for sure. He's got him in that. But outside of the sacks and the tackles for loss, like J.J. Watt that year, like had 3 receptions for 3 touchdowns. He recovered, I think, 4 touchdowns, took one of those back, recovered 4 fumbles, took one of those back for a touchdown, forced another 5. He also intercepted a pass and took that back for a touchdown. So he was just, he was doing a lot of scoring himself that year outside of just getting sacks and putting pressure on the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of asked the question: is the all around performance defensively from Myles Garrett this year kind of, is it equivalent, or is it on pace to kind of go past that year that JJ Watt had?
No, he
I
won't have
think- I think-
the scoring success that JJ did, in my opinion, but he's going to surpass everybody in the sacks. He will be your new sack holder. The sack record will be his name by the end of this year overall. In my
I think
opinion.
it'd be by week 15, to be honest with you. I think it'd be by week 15.
Right. That's what we were talking about last week. It's going to be like the number is going to be 30 for the year.
If he gets
He
anywhere
might
close,
have over that.
if he's between 27 and 30, I'm not worried about those offensive touchdowns from JJ or those touchdowns in general from JJ. If he has that many sacks in one season, he had the better season, in my opinion. Just
Because
strictly
he's
as a
killing
defensive back.
drives. He's killing drives.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
But hey, while we're on the Miles Sanders track, let's get into that Browns game because I know at least one of us was excited to see Shadur Sanders step out there on the field as a starter this week. We'll start with you, Chris Brown.
It's a band on my daughter's hair, but it's the same to me. But I give that defense a perfect 10. If you know, you know. I'll explain in a bit.
Oh man, yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Shadur Sanders should be starting. Why isn't he starting? What's going on? We got a little loud with it, but we're back. We're calm. And
Hey, Chris, I do believe, Chris, that me and you picked the Browns to win with Shadur Sanders this week, and somebody, not mentioning no names, did not.
I did say that if there was going to be an upset this week, it would be the Raiders over the Browns if Shadur Sanders did not play up to snuff. And I am not too man to admit it, but I'm going to scroll back here. What did I say? I said, I texted the group chat. All these guys have seen it. I said, Sanders is low-key looking. I said he's low-key looking good. And then I said, right after, not super impressive, but looking good or very good. And then I went back an hour and a half later, and I said, after further consideration, I am impressed. Man is legit.
He did say that. I do remember saying.
If you watch the first half of that game, you said, okay, he's making some throws. And I've said this before to other people. I think the stats got a little bit inflated. You have a little dump off to Dylan Sampson. He runs it for 70 yards. But he's
not fancy.
Throw.
He's not fancy. I think he's more cerebral than fancy, though. It's fantastic.
He can get fancy. He can get fancy. That deep ball he threw.
Oh, no. I'm not saying he can't get fancy. What I'm saying is his stats wise. They're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Well, I'll say it like this. There's been some controversy about those first 2 touchdowns because when he got them in the red zone, they went Wildcat. They did that one time this year, and that was against Miami, but it was a rain game, so I understand that. I didn't like it, but I understand it because the Raiders are not really that great against the run. Crosby. I do think. Wait, y'all hear me? Because
Yeah.
It's
you're good.
all right.
Yeah, we got you.
I think what Shador did. I mean, you look at the stats; it doesn't seem like something crazy, but he was cool, calm in the pocket. Even when the blitz came, he made the best the best play and not the biggest play. And what I mean is that I'll go back to this one play. The Raiders blitzed. They ran the other receivers ran deep routes. Fannin had a release route where he just blocks for like a second and then he releases, and while pressure's in his face, just add some touch to the ball, get it to Fannin. Fannin fights for extra yards, first down. And he made key throws to keep drives alive. And sometimes that's what you just need to be in a quarterback, and sometimes on an offense. The screen, that was coaching, and I will give credit to coaching there because they ran that same screen earlier in the game. And what he did was he eyed the running back and waited too late to throw the ball. This time, keep the safety in the middle of the field, flip hips, fire. He did that. He got the ball into the right spot so Samson could just run and just score the touchdown. I do think he could have had probably 2 touchdowns if they let him operate in the red zone. But it was a pretty good game. The pick was pretty bad. He was wrong on part of that. Sometimes you got to look off that curl flat defender before you fire it. But he was going off a timing there too, because if that curl flat defender stayed outside, he would have beat the hook curl defender on the inside and squeezed that ball into the receiver. So I know what he was doing, but it's just that he just has to be technically sound in certain things that are coachable. I do have a problem with Kevin Stefanski when he was asked right after the game, should he be the starter? And he was like, I'm not going to get into it. And then the next day, then he names Shedeur Sanders a starter because it's like the team energy that they played different. They were fighting for extra yards. It was like their playoff lines was on the line. Like, this is the final game of the season, division rival. You got to win or go home. And they've been playing like that.
Energy.
Exactly. It's a different energy. And you're still considering Dylan Gabriel being in there when the last time he was in, that team looked flat. It looks bad. It looks like Jimmy Haslam stepped in and said, yo, Sanders is starting or you're getting fired. That's what it looked like. And plus, giving him the game ball was wild too. He just made it seem like it was in.
Hey man, I'm telling you, bro. I think in the next couple of years, if they stick with Shedeur and make him the certified starter for the next couple of years, that combination of him and Fannin is going to be nice, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see how that develops.
If they could use some of their draft picks in upcoming years to kind of solidify that receiving core, they kind of run into the same problem that Jacksonville kind of runs into. It's like, yeah, you got guys, you know their names, Parker Washington, or for the Browns, like you have Jerry Jeudy, you've got Cedric Tillman,
Elijah Moore, I think is over there.
Past those guys, it's like where do you go with the ball? So I think maybe Isaiah Bond is on the team. I think.
Yeah.
It's like where do you go with the ball? There's not a lot of high end talent. Chris,
I have a question. Can we say the Cleveland Browns might have won the draft is based off of how their rookies are performing? Schlesinger, starter. He's balling. Mason.
Baller.
He's balling. Mason.
Yes.
He played well last game. Isaiah Bond. He's contributing a little bit more now. Sampson. He's contributing more. Judkins. He's balling. And then on top of that, when you think of Andrew Berry's pick was Shedeur Sanders and not Kevin Stefanski's, you might have to think Cleveland might have won this draft just from a rookie production standpoint, not from a season, like an overall season standpoint.
Yeah. I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah, I can get behind that too, for sure.
Like it's real interesting. The rookies are some of the biggest standouts on that team. I just think Kevin Stefanski needs to stop thinking of Dylan as his guy and just be cool with playing the best player for your team. I just think that's what it needs to happen. Dylan's his guy. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. Agents the same, yada, yada, blah, blah. But you got to let that go. Like, you know what I'm saying? You made the mistake.
Definitely.
So I do want to kind of shift over to the Patriots and Bengals game. Not really for the actual game, but I don't know if you guys heard, Joe Burrow could be back next week, as soon as next week. Is there any hope? I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but is there any hope for that Bengals team to win any games down the stretch here?
Maybe win some games, but I mean, like you said, winning the playoff or getting in the playoffs, that's out of the question at this point, man. You got Pittsburgh, even though they've been taking a couple L's, recently, they still look like they're better than the Bengals, even with Mason Rudolph at the fucking quarterback. And then you got Baltimore, who's now taking over the division since they've got started to get healthier and a little more comfortable in their own skin and shit. So, I mean, me personally, I say just go ahead and sit Joe Burrow, man. Fuck it. Joe Flacco has been having you guys still out there producing. You got more of a running game, it seems like, with Joe Flacco than what you had with Joe Burrow. So why not just go ahead and let Joe Burrow, go ahead and make his millions and buy his Batmobiles and let him chill for the rest of the season, heal up, and try to hope for a full 17 game season from him next year.
Yeah.
I agree. Because when you look at the Bengals, their biggest problem is not the quarterback. The biggest problem is their defense. Like even against the Patriots, I think that was one of their best games of the year, and even then they look pretty mid. Like it's difficult to really say that Joe Burrow will make this substantial difference because Joe Flacco's been airing it out. I mean, he didn't have a T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, and that game was kind of close to some degree. So when you look at it, offense is not the issue. So either quarterbacks and you're going to produce points. It's just their defense can't stop anybody. They are the turnstile of the NFL for 2 years straight. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question on this?
Yeah.
When do we stop considering somebody a top 5 quarterback when they're injury prone?
That is a good conversation to get into. I'm going to piggyback that one real quick. Same line of questioning almost. Is it time for the Bengals, with all the issues out there on their defense and all the injuries that Joe Burrow's had, to move off of Joe Burrow?
I mean,
financially, that's a bad decision.
Simply because the defense has been fucking just ass, right? In recent years, and you haven't built your defense up. I'm going to say no to that fact, right? But for myself, Joe Burrow's biggest fucking claim to fame, yeah, he's got great stats every year, right? But his biggest claim to fame is, he beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship. Who fucking cares?
That's how I feel, yeah.
Injury prone is injury prone. I called it with JJ Fuckty too. Injury prone is injury prone. I'm tired of people putting a fucking quarterback in the top 5 conversation, top 3 conversations sometimes. Why?
Yeah, I personally would still have Joe Burrow, even though he hasn't really played this year, in the top 10. If you just round out the top 10 and you don't put Joe Burrow in there, who are you putting at 11 or even 12? The names aren't that impressive.
It's not always just about stats, though. Because without his stats, without his 4,500 yards throwing, with arguably the 2 of the top 5 fucking receivers in the league, without that, what the fuck is he?
Oh, see, now you started a rabbit hole. So top 5,
we don't know.
Jamar Chase. We can say Jamar Chase is top 5 easy. Can we say the same about T. Higgins when he's injured every year?
On the Higgins. I'm going a little extra on the Higgins.
No.
I see what you're saying.
I understand what you're saying.
I see what you're saying.
But at the same time, to answer your question, we don't know what Joe Burrow is without that because we've never seen him without it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, we have. There was a game or two when. No. There was a game or two, I believe, either Chase and Higgins were out, And what he did was he threw
But
more to the tight
what
end.
Stino is saying is we've never seen a fucking season without that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I
right.
get that. I think honestly they should just look for another number 2 and not put so much money into T. Higgins. I understand why, but
Sure.
I honestly think you can get that a certain level of production, not similar to T. Higgins. I feel you can get that from another receiver that has some of the traits that he has. It's just to put $100 million into him, like 40% of your cap is to 3 players out of a 53-man roster. You don't have enough money to pay defenders, and
Well,
you need defense.
Let's take a page out of Jerry's book, right? Get rid of your number 1 defensive guy who wants $40 million a year. Get rid of your fucking number 2 wide receiver who again wants $40 million a year. I don't know what he's paid right now, but you know what I mean. And take that money, use that money on fucking getting capital, getting actual players with those funds. Right? Yeah. Look, until we made the trades and we got Obershone back, we get Butler back, and we've got who else did we just get back from injury? Our defense was fucking absolute garbage the first 8 weeks, 9 weeks of the season, or the first 3 weeks actually started off really well with the run stop, and then for some reason, like everybody, I guess, fucking Europeans, I guess we got to get sacks, so we changed up the defense a little bit to gain more towards sacks, but then we had no run stopping defense, and our fucking secondary was dog shit. So I don't know. For me, again, it's one of those things. It's like Justin Herbert is considered a top 10 quarterback. At this moment, I take Justin Herbert because of his healthy ability to stay healthy than I would Joe Burrow at this point.
My question, to go back to that, how you said the Cowboys unloaded their best defensive player. I think the issue is the Bengals do not have anybody of that caliber. Not anywhere on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, they don't, and I don't think they have 3, what you can be considered top 15 defensive players either. They have one really good defensive player that they can offload and get something for, in my opinion, right? No, they can't because he's a free agent at the end of the fucking season. But it's take your money, spend it wisely, and build your defense versus what the fuck they're doing right now is just paying everything on offense.
Well, yeah, I think that's where they screwed the pooch is they thought, okay, we're going to come in here. We're going to score 40 to 50 points a game. We have one of the best quarterbacks, the best wide receiver tandem in the league, and we're just going to outscore everybody. Who cares what our defense does? And it hasn't worked out simply, like we just said, is Joe Burrow can't stay on the field. And
well, I mean, outside of the spending money aspect on the defense, you gotta hope your defensive draft picks hit as well. There was a span in the season. I think,
Sure.
I think it took Shamar Stewart like 7-8 weeks to finally get past 3 tackles total on the season, bro. So I mean, even when your first round top 20, top 17 pick isn't even going out there and producing after he was holding out for the money that he wanted, which obviously you could tell he wasn't worth at this point because he ain't doing a fucking thing. It just kind of like, even if you guys do offload the pieces and get the money, who the fuck you gonna spend the money on? Because who the fuck wants to come to Cincinnati at this point? Because your organization's been so bad at managing the good players that they do have that the good players don't want to come there to get mismanaged. You know what I'm saying?
I just had a funny thought. I apologize.
The best example of that is Jesse Bates.
Yep.
When Bates left Cincinnati for Atlanta, that's when that defense fell off a damn cliff.
Mm-hmm.
He was calling him at that point a top 5 safety. He was leading leading that team in tackles damn near every year for a majority of his time there. He was good in the secondary. He was the guy. I think that was the glue to that defense. I mean, yes, he's a safety, but sometimes when you have that dog back there, like it gets everybody else to play better. And ever since he's left, they haven't sniffed anything past a divisional or playoff since. And their defense has been atrocious since. Their pass defense in particular. So when you have great players, you have to find a way to keep great players. And they let a top 5 safety walk out the building. They didn't even trade for capital. They tried to replace it with Geno Stone after he had a 7-pick season, but they forget he was the backup safety that came in because I believe Elliott got hurt that year. So when Elliott went out, that's when he was getting his picks as a rotational guy, but he wasn't the main starter then. And now you're starting to see, like, when you try to play cheap defensively, you get cheap defense results.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. Kind of to what Cliff was saying about them not having no pieces on that defense to be able to move outside of Trey Hendrickson. I think they do got one other piece on that defense, and it's a younger piece that I think could garner some interest, and that's cornerback. He played for Michigan. I think it's DJ Turner. I think his name is. I can't remember his last name exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
He leads the league in pass deflections right now, if I'm not mistaken. Last I checked. So, I mean, that's just another solid young piece that, again, if they do decide to finally start managing their guys well, pay him a little bit. Make that be one of the guys you start paying since he's still young and been able to stay healthy and shit. If not, man, like y'all said, they might just be fucked, bro. Might just be fucked.
No, their goose is cooked. Their goose is cooked, bro.
Yeah, I think they're in for a couple bad
It's like Thanksgiving on Thursday.
So,
It's
so
well done.
let me ask one last just wild question. If the Cincinnati Bengals decided they wanted to make a change and get rid of Joe Burrow, where would he go?
That's what I'm worried. That's what I'm saying. And plus, you got to worry about the dead money. So even if you get rid of Joe Burrow, you're gonna be locked in cap wise.
No, there's not a whole lot of dead money left. This is his. So remember, he signed his contract for $55 million. The same year Dak signed his for $60, and I think it was only like a 5 or a 6 year deal, and all the money was on the front end, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but he has
so
one more year.
Right. There's not a whole lot of dead money though. Right. They haven't redone his contract. They haven't moved money down the line. Right. They didn't do what Dallas did with Dak and what they're doing with CD and the restructuring of shit. So really and truly, how much is that last year worth? And instead of paying that last year off and you traded him, then you don't have any of the dead money.
But then who do you replace him with at quarterback? You got to have a legit replacement. And that's where it gets. Do
you have to have a legit replacement without having your defense fixed first?
I don't think you necessarily have to have a legit replacement, but I think you got to have some type of legitimate plan.
You got 5 quarterbacks coming out of the draft in the first, or five quarterbacks coming out of the draft this year that could be decent quarterbacks.
Because all you do need is decent QB play.
I might just be basing this off this last game, and Stino will appreciate this, but CJ Carr threw the ball downfield really, really well against Syracuse this last week for Notre Dame. You put CJ, someone like CJ
Notre Dame, 70 points.
You put somebody like
isn't he still a freshman?
I think so. No,
he was a red shirt from last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so this is technically junior year, but sophomore year throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I think anybody in that kind of situation where he throws a pretty decent deep ball and you have a T. Higgins and a Jamar Chase and you can get him in the first round, that at least gives you some, even if he's bad the first year, it gives you some solidity in the quarterback position for at least a couple of years on that rookie deal, whether he's good or bad. You have the receivers. They're going to make him look good at some point.
So wouldn't Mendoza be the better choice if he drops to them?
Yeah, but I don't know, where are they going to be picking in the draft? Where are they
I was going to say Mendoza at this point is probably going to be the number 1 pick.
He fits it perfectly well. He throws the ball down the field.
Yeah, but
That's
they
without
won't
a
be able
doubt.
to pick up that first round pick, right? They're not going to be able to pick up
No.
anybody that goes in the top 10. They're not going to be able to grab.
CJ Carr, I'm looking at as somebody that they could probably grab in the second round. I don't think he's
Maybe
going. He
Dante
comes out this
Moore.
year.
I don't like. It depends on where their position at season's end because
But-
I think they only have
but-
3 wins.
You see where we're at with the quarterbacks coming in and draft eligible this year, right? That's what I'm saying. If Cincinnati was to say, you know what, we're fucked on defense. We spent too much money on quarterback, receiver, and we've got to let go of one. Joe Burrow
Higgins.
is injury prone. No. Joe Burrow's injury prone. T. Higgins isn't. Jamar Chase isn't. So if I can keep
T.
a
Higgins
considerably top 3 duo in the league for wide receivers, why wouldn't I keep my 2 wide receivers and get rid of the quarterback that's been hurt literally half of his career?
Here's why I say T. Higgins, because T. Higgins has been injury prone. It's just not to the level of Joe Burrow. But you do make a great point. You do make an absolutely great point. I just think that when you're talking about a $100 million contract for a receiver, availability should play a huge role in that. And I believe every season T. Higgins has had some naggy injury that keeps him out for like a handful of games. So they have 2 guys they have one injury prone, one injury prone, and then they got a star in
Right.
Jamar Chase. It's like I think for me,
Which
for
one
this
do you get rid
particular
of?
draft class right now, I would say T, because of the fact that
No.
I
Taking
would
Joe
say
Burrow
this
out.
for this draft class, I would say T. But if you're talking about a year or 2 from like 2 years from now, when it's like the next one, I would say Joe. I don't think the
Joe's
quarterbacks
got
in
1
this
year
draft
left
class
after
can.
this. So
That's what
next
I'm
year's his
saying.
last year. I'm getting this draft, 2026. When you have the list of quarterbacks that are coming out in this draft, I'm taking my quarterback right now. That's what I think the Cowboys should do. Because if they're not planning on re-signing Dak at this moment, you take that 2026 first round pick and you maneuver it to the best of your ability to get inside the top 15, and you go ahead and take a quarterback now.
I have a question. What if they don't have to draft a quarterback? What if the Bengals traded for Joe Milton?
Ooh.
He throws the ball down the field.
Yeah, he's with.
He does, but
No,
his
he doesn't.
accuracy
need
is
decent play.
so bad, bro. His accuracy is so bad.
Yes, but it's coachable. And from what I've heard, Zach Taylor is a QB guy, right? So when you have those
Right.
type of
And
QB guys, you could fix some
I
throwing
like Milton.
mechanics.
I like Milton. And he's got a strong fucking arm. But can you teach that much accuracy on it?
I don't think anybody's on Andy Reid's level when it comes to fixing quarterbacks, though. That's my thing.
Well, that's
Yeah,
I think Minnesota. I think Kevin McConnell's close.
Kevin Conley's damn fucking close on it, I think.
O'Connell.
I think so because
look, we all agree Sam Darnold's having a great year still. The last year with Kevin Conley completely changed his outlook quarterback standing. It really did, because before that, the dude when he went to Seattle, I thought it was over. I really did.
Same.
I'm not gonna lie. I had him out because I thought Kevin Conley did such a great job with him, and the situation in Minnesota that he had. I thought that for myself, I was like, no, there's no way that he's going to leave Minnesota and still have half the season that he had at Minnesota. And he's proven people wrong, man. I think Seattle's leading that division right now, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not gonna lie.
They're number 2.
Number 2?
Yeah, they're behind the Rams, but it's like by 1 game, I think.
If you look at Sam Darnold's stats, bro, if it wasn't for JSN, Sam Darnold would look like Jake Browning right now.
Well, let's not lie though. Sam Darnold only has JSN.
Does he?
He's got a Cooper Cup. I mean, but
He's
we're talking about the older.
Look.
He's eclipsed.
Saying he has Cooper Cup is like saying he has Adam Thielen.
1,000.
Cooper
We
Kupp,
just
saw
this.
He AJ
Saying he has Cooper
Brown.
Kupp
He's
is like
got,
saying he has Adam Thielen,
He
right?
got Horton,
Hey, whoa.
who had been playing. Horton been playing good. Rashid
Well, see,
Shaheed-
Horton's only got like 162
Ra-
yards on the season, and I think he got 101 of them in one game when he had the 3 touchdowns.
Rashid
Yeah,
Shaheed-
let's
Rashid
not
Shaheed just came
overcook
over there.
somebody
He's
here.
still getting acclimated to the offense. You feel me?
Again, without JSN,
He don't look that
They're
good.
cooked.
right?
I
That's
think
what
the
I'm
offense as a
saying.
whole is cooked, though. I don't think it's necessarily a Sam Darnold problem. I think it's just that JSC.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, my
With
phone's
Minnesota, you took away you take away the tight end, you take away JJ, and you I mean, I guess they had a decent running year that year, but not a top 6, top 5 running year. So again, yes, the pieces around him still matter, just like they did in Minnesota. So he's still performing with that top performing wide receiver.
What about Sam Darnold to the Bengals?
I will say this. I think
I think he's
Joe
got a
Milton
multi-year
would be
in
better in
Seattle.
Minnesota. My phone's dying. Oh,
I agree. I think he had a better season in Minnesota. I completely agree.
but you also got to look at how O'Connell did with all those quarterbacks. He was still successful to some degree too.
That's what I'm saying. Kevin
Joe
Conley
Milton.
was the better quarterback coach, in my opinion, for Sam Darnold than anything else. It's. I think they should have again. I think they should have kept Sam Darnold in Minnesota and said "fuck you" to JJ. But that's just my opinion. I digress.
Yep, there it goes.
I got a list of the draft eligible quarterbacks in 2026. Real quick: Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, Nico. I honestly can't say his last name, from UCLA. Lenora Sellers, Arch Manning, Sam Levitt, Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier, Fernando Mendoza, and Dante Moore. Those are just like the top names of draft eligible. But what is that? 10 guys. Cliff's got a good point here when it comes to the QBs coming out.
Mendoza.
Mendoza's going to be a problem. I don't want to
best.
get too far into the actual college football thing, but he is going to be a problem coming into the NFL. He is so good.
I am curious as to when the quarterback for A&M's eligible.
Oh yeah. So this was just like an AI overview. I can deep dive
Gotcha.
into that and come back with a better list next week. But real quick, so we just lost Chris. I think his phone died. I do want to quickly hit. We'll do the last couple games here, we'll predict the games for Thanksgiving. Then we have a Friday game at 3 p.m. I'm not sure if we'll see you guys on Friday, so we'll do that game too real quick. And then I do want to touch on the NBA a little bit since we got Stino here. So real quick, we'll just run through it. We got Packers Lions. What side of the fence are you guys on for that, and why?
Take a Lions.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the Lions too, man. I think they're gonna be fired up off of that Giants game, realizing that they really shouldn't have had that game be that close and shit, man. I think they're gonna come back fired up.
Actually, if Dan Campbell is calling the plays, Green Bay. Dan Campbell, you got lucky twice. Quit calling the fucking plays. So if Dan Campbell's calling the plays, it's Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of leaning towards Green Bay anyway. I just think they're coming into this in a little bit better of a situation. They
Toyotathon.
Yeah, that Toyotathon. They had a really good game against the Vikings. I think that the Lions, although they're winning and they're coming into this game, they barely beat the Giants. So I'm going to lean towards Green Bay myself, simply for that fact. I think they're just playing better football coming into this game. But this is what I will say. On a short week, I think Dan Campbell had those guys fired up. It's going to be a really good game, divisional game on Thanksgiving, for sure. Chiefs Cowboys, Cliff.
Oh, I'm taking Cowboys all day. Listen, have I never not picked my boys? I will pick my boys every game, no matter what. And it's at home.
Yeah, you always get a home game on Thanksgiving. It's not fair, all right, man? Not
Listen,
fair.
it's because we started off with one of those being one of those teams saying, "Yeah, we'll play every Thanksgiving. Fuck it, as long as we play at home."
I will take. So I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I will put an asterisk there, and I will say that this might be one of the higher scoring games this year. I think both offenses are going to be clicking. Mahomes and company are going to take advantage of the defense of Dallas, but at the same time, Dallas is going to still put up points as well, and it's going to be back and forth. It might come down to last team with the ball, like we saw. If you remember, what was it, Chiefs Rams with when Goff was still.
Oh
in the
yeah,
Rams?
last week, and then the week before that, and then last week it was the last people to Dallas had the ball last. That's what won them the game.
What do you think, Stino?
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs in this one. I don't think it's gonna be as high scoring as people's gonna think, though, man. I do think Dallas offense is gonna get off still a little bit, but man, Spags is just too good of a fucking defensive coordinator to really allow shit to slide like that, man. So, I'm gonna take the Chiefs in a little bit of a closer game. I'm gonna say it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be something like 17-14, 21-17, something like that. I think that's gonna be the score. I think it's gonna be a good defensive game this week. Not a lot of offense going on.
Damn, I kind of wish I didn't realize that this was the third game here on Thanksgiving. Kind of wish we still had Chris for this, but we got Bengals, Ravens with the potential.
I'm taking Ravens on their winning streak right now. Ravens on their win streak right now. They're looking good. Derrick Henry's actually running the ball again. He's scored 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, I think. I'm taking Baltimore on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Baltimore too, man. They finally cracked into that division lead. So yeah.
Woo! Chris is taking Dallas?
Yeah, here Chris.
I knew I love that man for a reason.
Dallas goes off, man. He said Dallas goes off.
Dallas goes off. I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Trey Smith might be out. Yeah.
If you get a chance, give us your pick for the Bengals Ravens. I think all three of us are going to go Ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah. And then
Green Bay, Detroit too. Green Bay, Detroit too.
And then the Friday game is Bears Eagles.
I've been saying this all season. The Eagles have a potential to be more of a pretender than a contender. They haven't looked great as a team all season. For the last 2 games, they finally started getting the Hurts to A.J. Brown situation kind of going and actually throwing him the ball. But Barkley has not been the running back that he was previously. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that this offensive scheme, this offensive play caller is not what they've had in any way, shape, or form for the last 4 years. This offensive play caller is their issue. Their scheme is not, it's just not great. So I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking the Bears.
I'm gonna take Philly in this game, man. I can understand what you're saying, Cliff, and I definitely agree with that. But one thing that we've also seen from Philadelphia is outside of them not looking great all season, they still find ways to win games. You know what I'm saying? Or at least, if not win games, be competitive in the games that they do lose. Outside of the Giants game where they kind of got BTA, you know what I'm saying? But
or the Cowboys in the second half where they got, what was it?
Second half, but they were still up 21-0 at
41 minutes complete of that game, not scored.
But no, man, and Chicago, I mean, congratulations, you finally beat a team above 500 and a beat up Pittsburgh team with Mason Rudolph man in the quarterback position. Congratulations. Outside of that,
look at that. Me and Chris are on the fucking same page with these games this week. Look at this shit.
Outside of that, man, the fucking, I don't know, Bears just, I don't know. It seems like when they go up against a team that actually knows what they're doing or actually wants to win some games, they don't look the same. You know what I mean? And
But,
I think,
like they're 8 wins right now, right? With the Bears, got like 8 wins right now.
yeah,
I mean, how are you saying? Look, here's what I can't stand about someone going, well, the team's over 500, so they play that are under 500. Is that what you're saying?
their strength of victory right now is like 0.25.
Yeah, they've
Point-
beat
0.28. I'm sorry, 0.285. I apologize. Almost 0.3. After the win against the Steelers, it might be up to 0.31. Either way, you're not beating good teams.
yeah,
You're
they
not
beat
beating
the
you're not beating teams that want to win games. You're beating teams that want to win high draft picks. You know what I mean?
Look, I mean, the way I see it is every one of these teams is a professional football team. None of these teams out here want to go out and
absolutely agree
lose a
with that,
game
bro.
intentionally.
I'm not saying they
I
wanna lose
got the
game.
Bears. Yeah.
I'm just saying, and when they go up against a team that actually battles like the Giants, where they had to come from behind in the fourth quarter to win that game, and rely on Jackson Dart getting a concussion and having to be out to win that game. I mean, just seems like with a team like Philadelphia, who has the strongest strength of victory in the league right now, it just seems like it's going to favor the Eagles. Where's that game at? Is it in Chicago or Philadelphia?
I
I
believe
think
it's in
that plays a
Chicago.
factor.
it's at Philadelphia.
Is it Philly?
Yeah, it's at Philly. I think that plays a factor as well. But I mean, I don't know. I think I still expect a good game though.
I
I
think it's
don't
going to be a
expect
good game. I think it's going to
I
be a
don't
good game.
expect a blowout for sure. Caleb Williams has been looking good too, man. I'll give him his credit. Caleb Williams.
He's had a decent sophomore year. He really has.
Yeah, he's looked decent.
We might get the first 4,000-yard passer in Bears history.
You might, man.
Very well could. They've put the pieces around them. This is my only thing with that is they refuse to do that with Justin Fields.
Hey, even with Palmer, they never had a 4,000.
No, I didn't have Palmer. Cutler.
You're right.
Colors. Thank you.
You're right, Chris. I did.
But real quick, we're hitting the hour mark here. We've kind of gotten away from the NBA the past couple of weeks. Let it kind of come to fruition and let it play out. Stino, as our local hoop head, our local NBA guy, give us just a quick synopsis of the season so far.
Well, I don't think it's went like a lot of people would have expected it to go. Like I don't think this far into the season you would have expected the top two teams in the Eastern Conference to be the Detroit Pistons and the Toronto Raptors. I don't think anyone right? I don't think anyone expected that. So shout out to them for balling out right now. Pistons are 15-2. 15-2 right now, 17 games into the season, man. Toronto's 13-5. So it's starting to be a lot more parity in the NBA so far this season, man. So yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I mean, the Pistons were pretty heavily talked about during the offseason, though, as a team to look out for, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not too crazy to say this early in the season that the Pistons are actually doing what people were talking about them doing.
But be 15-2 though, to be 15-2 for Detroit, I think that's the crazier part.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could have maybe expected them to be more like 9-8, maybe 10-7 type stuff.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
But 15-2 with the second best record in the NBA, only one game behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's impressive. To your point, Toronto, I think they're on like a 7 or 8 game win streak now. Right, with guys like Brandon Ingram, Jakob Portal, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett.
What you're saying is, with a group of guys that ain't nobody fucking ever heard of?
Not necessarily nobody's ever heard of, but a group of guys that were that were shipped off, kind of written off from their original teams, outside
Yeah.
of Scotty Barnes, of course. Scotty Barnes been in Toronto his whole career, but R.J. Barrett started his career in New York, was written off for Julius Randle. Then you had Brandon Ingram started his career with the Lakers, and we
Yeah.
know how that ended up. He went
Yeah.
to the Pelicans, and that ended up not panning out. Now seems like he's found a decent home with Toronto where he's actually playing well. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Emmanuel Quickly, who came over with RJ Barrett from the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like everybody's finally comfortable in their roles over there. I can't remember a coach's name, but the coach seems like it seems like he's always real into the game, especially when they're winning. You see him in the locker room, he's always geeked up, always getting hyped with the guys and everything like that, man. So
Trying to find my preseason rankings here. I don't know if I can find them quick enough. I'll have them for the next show. I think the thing to say about Detroit though is I feel like a lot of people that watch basketball or even talked about basketball before the season is they had them, 3-4 as far as the seeding in the East.
yeah.
So with them,
I had him about the 4 to 6 mark. Yeah, I had him about that.
So I think coming out to this hot start is what is more like surprising than anything. Like
Right.
you said, is you would expect them, 9-8, 10-7 type deal. They have been playing well though. I think Cade has come into his own as an all-around point guard this year, and even last year. I don't want to take anything away from him the past couple of years, but I think when he first came out, people saw him as a scorer. And he's kind of come into his own. They've put some pieces around him, not huge names, but guys that play well with his style of play. And I think that's what a lot of teams in the NBA kind of get away from that. They have a guy like, I don't know. Well, how about this? We were just talking about it before the show. Cooper Flag comes into Dallas. He's bringing the ball up. He's playing point guard essentially for them. There's not a lot of playmakers outside of Cooper Flag on that Dallas team. They haven't put him in a position. Now they are missing guys, with injuries, but they haven't put him in a position to succeed with that type of play style. Whereas Detroit said, okay, Cade, you've been averaging between 8 and 9, 10 assists every single game for the past 2 years. We're going to get you guys that you can dish to and they're going to score. So I think they have built the right type of roster to be competitive. But yeah, it is super surprising to see them as competitive or as good, I should say, as they've been in the beginning of this season. I think if you guys are all right with it, I think we'll leave it at that for now. We'll dive a little bit more into the NBA next week after the holidays. Just want to shout out everybody. Have a good Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, be safe.
Real quick. Got to give my shout outs to my boys over at the office. So Mikey Mike and Chucky D.
Mikey Mike and Chucky D, man. Shout out Mikey Mike.
If you're like Cliff and you'll be working during the holidays, call your family, have a good holiday, get some good food where you can. Chinese is always open on these holidays, so go get yourself some Chinese food.
Go get that duck, man. Go get that duck from the Christmas store, man. Cut the head off.
And I will see you boys probably not the end of this week, but next week at some point. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. And everyone have a good holiday. This is Fifth Take Podcast, signing off.
Later, baby.